Devilman Classic Collection is the 2018 English release of the original 1972 Devilman manga by Go Nagai. Devilman Crybaby is somewhat based on this story, meaning there's a lot of differences. In fact, that sounds like a good idea for a video, but more on that later. This video is actually about the format of the book itself and not really about the story because there's some things that need to be addressed. But if you want a review of the story, then let me lead you to my old review from 2015. Yeah, I knew what Devilman was before 2018. This book is quite big. It's not as big as Battle Angel Alita by Kodansha Comics, but it's still really thick. It's actually thicker than the JoJo volumes, and the biggest one I have is Battle Tendency Volume 4. And here's some other manga for scale comparison. I think it's about the size of a Visbig, but I don't have any, so I can't say if that's true or not. A single volume is around the $24 mark, but it does come with some color pages. Devilman was originally 5 volumes long, so condensing it in 2 volumes is part of the reason why it's beefy and a bit pricey. Before you decide to buy this manga, you need to be aware of a few things. Over the past 40 plus years, Devilman has been released in numerous editions, especially in Japan and Italy. In fact, in 2017, Italy received an omnibus containing the entire story in one book. The 2018 Classic Collection is being released by 7 Seas, and this is the first time we can have the complete manga in English. While I'm very grateful for 7 Seas to licensing a lot of old school manga, especially in 2018, I'm not completely satisfied with this version of Devilman. I can't exactly go into a very accurate comparison because I haven't seen the contents of the other Devilman manga. Basically, it's like asking the question, which version of Star Wars trilogy should I buy? Or, I want to watch DBZ, so should I buy the Blu-ray, the Kai version, the Dragon boxes, or the Orange Bricks? Applying that example to Devilman, this is what I got. The edition 7 Seas chose to release is missing a lot of pages, and 2 chapters are out of order. This is not 7 Seas' fault, as the Devilman version they use already had this format. Instead of the missing pages, we got some color pages and special chapters, along with the addition of the Shin Devilman manga, a sort of mid-quel released years after the original Devilman. Now the question is, do these changes affect the story in a negative way? A little bit, yeah. Keeping spoilers to a minimum, the fate of Ryo Asuka at the end of Akira turning into Devilman is left in the dark for a good chunk of the story, and the next time you see Ryo, he abruptly comes out of nowhere. The missing pages include a scene where Akira talks to Ryo during his stay at the hospital, thus telling the reader he's okay. There's other removed material which involves the Demon Eater, but I don't want to focus on that. The other odd decision from this version is having the Shin Devilman stories in the wrong order. At the very back of the book, you get content from Shin Devilman, with the exception of the final chapter. It's not really necessary to read as it feels fillerish, especially when it's squeezed into the middle of the classic collection, as it doesn't really fit the narrative of the original Devilman manga. Shin Devilman involves fictional history and time traveling, but for better or worse, it's here, and I assume it's more of a bonus feature as it's in the back of the book and there is a break between the last Devilman chapter and the start of the Shin Devilman portion. The real problem with the Shin Devilman section is the first chapter should be swapped with the second. Even if you're reading it for the first time, you can tell that these chapters are in the wrong order, since one throws you in the middle of a medieval setting and the other gives the explanation of a time slip and historical location. Again, this is not 7 Seas' fault, that's just how the actual Japanese release had its content. So those are the flaws of this edition, but everything else seems to be intact. I can't make an accurate judgment of the Classic Collection manga as we're still waiting for Volume 2, which gets released at the end of the year, and I'm sure some different content will be featured too. According to a tweet from my friend Cooltaff, he asked 7 Seas what version they use and they responded with the Deluxe Edition. Now, doing some research, I eventually ended up with the Devilman Wiki, so I compared the list of contents to what I read in the 7 Seas Volume 1, and it seems to be true. This classic collection uses the Devilman Deluxe Edition, aka Refurbished Edition, originally released in 1987. However, 7 Seas mentioned using 4 volumes as its source, and thankfully the wiki does have the detail of the 1987 Deluxe Edition being re-released in 4 volumes in 2009. Okay, now that I figured that out, I can offer a suggestion. Maybe 7 Seas should have grabbed the 2012 Revised Edition. The reason I say maybe is because this wiki page doesn't have the full list of context for this specific version, so I don't know for certain if this 2012 edition is the superior one, or maybe we already got the better deal. The point is, it does mention recovering some missing material, but also I was shared a few images from a subscriber on Skype, and he showed me that some manga panels were redrawn. For example, this is the original page featured in the classic collection, and this is the updated panel from the 2012 revised edition. But admittedly, that's the limit of my knowledge. As said earlier, I don't know the full contents of this 2012 revised edition, and 7C still has to release volume 2 of their classic. I wish I could read both editions just to see what would be more recommendable for a definitive English release. Or better yet, if only we can combine everything, creating a completely new edition that should please everyone. I also asked 7Cs on Twitter if there was a reason why the 2012 version wasn't picked instead, and I haven't gotten a reply yet. These are the things I wanted to address, but I don't know if anyone else is bothered by this release of Devilman. Maybe it's just me. So that's what you need to know before buying this version. If none of these things bother you, then I think I just wasted your time. I'm sorry. I will make a full review once Volume 2 comes out, and that way I can give you better overall thoughts on this release of Devilman. Maybe there's stuff in Volume 2 that will make me think, you know what? This was worth the $45. Volume 2 is scheduled to come out on October 10, 2018, but to be honest, expect for a delay because 7Seas has been changing the release dates for just about everything in their old school 2018 releases. The next Devilman video will probably be about Mazinger Z versus Devilman. Maybe, I don't know, we'll see. That's all I got. I'm the Anime Hero, and I review manga books so you can buy them.